I serve with 35 other fine members of the Senate, just as Tim serves with 100 other members, and their hearts go out to him. Just as Senator McCain's heart went out to Kennedy just in the last week. That's a very special club of public citizens who represent us well. I would posit that with his handicap, Tim is even more effective. So I don't think you guys understand how the Senate runs, how the people run. You know, who are you to play God? It's for the constituents. You say he's not up to serving the constituents. We will decide that. I suspect in this city alone, he's going to get nearly 60% tomorrow. And I think that will let the constituents speak.
My question to you is, when a young child of maybe 12 to 15, who is in some way other able, reads that editorial and says, well, my dreams have been shattered because I can't become a U.S. Senator because the Rapid City Journal doesn't think I'm capable. I'm not worthy of that. I'm lower than most people. That's what the message is to those children and to other people out here. That was the message. I don't care if you endorse Tim Johnson or Joe Blow. It doesn't matter. Joe the plumber, you can if you want to. But you cannot use that as a red herring not to endorse somebody. That's just a horrible thing to do to a lot of people like Bill, who are in that position. That's my position.
What about a deaf person that can't communicate as well as someone else and has to have a signer or a communicator with him? Would that person not be qualified as well to serve in the Senate?
This was specifically about this individual at this time. I'm not sure. Going into a lot of disabilities.
All right. Well, get into it because it does cover all the disabilities.
But by using just that individual, you have crossed boundaries. You have opened that up to a big, huge box that maybe you didn't want to. Maybe you weren't thinking about it, but you have. A lot of people out here are angry about it, not because, and people I've talked to already who aren't even supporting Tim Johnson are angry about that because of what you've done to people who are other-abled. That's my point.
I think tonight, when you and all of the other board members go to bed, if you would simply hold in your mind this gentleman here, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I happen to have a husband who has a brain injury, and he works every day. He's a part of this community, this society. Just think about that, and God forbid that it should ever be you.
And Stephen Hawking.
Yes, Stephen Hawking.
I mean, one of the most brilliant minds on our planet. What you just said about people like him.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes, I do. I understand your concerns. Yeah, absolutely.
No, do you understand what you said? It's not about us. It's about what you said.
Yeah, we do.
What's
and
that?
we talked for quite a while about that. I mean, this wasn't actually all the endorsements. We talked quite a while about this one specifically.
And how much did you talk about the issue of disabledness?
We talked about it in regards to the job duties and the job responsibilities of the state of RCJ, U.S. Senator, and what a U.S. Senator needs to do.
And I think that's I think that's where you're so wrong, because I think his stature has gone up even further because of his courage. Look at Larry Pressler, who he defeated. Larry has come out and endorsed him and is voting for him because of his courage. That's what that club of senators, and sometimes these are the most important representatives in the country. These are all very serious public servants. And when you diss one of them, you diss them all. And I don't think there'd be a senator that would agree with your policy. The endorsement, that's totally different. But when you use that as a crutch for not endorsing him, I think that's just absolutely terrible.
Just so you know that there was a number of issues.
Well, then why didn't
you focus on the other issues?
They were written in there. I mean,
no, they weren't.
We discussed that as well.
You're forcing us to read between the lines. I'm sorry. I'm a journalist, and I would have taken that piece of trash and said, we are not dissing people with disabilities. We can't do that. Find out a good reason why we shouldn't support Tim Johnson and print it. You know, don't use this as a red herring because you're afraid to say something about it. And that's what you're doing.
I'd like to place an ad.
That's what you're doing.
I still find Tim Johnson's service and his constituent service to be remarkable. It's really strong. People have told me that they've had an issue, they've gone in and had it solved. They've gone to other offices, well, they went to John Thun's office and nobody got back to them. But Tim Johnson has always had strong constituent services, and he's worked hard for the people of South Dakota. And he's still working hard. This past year, things have gone on, they've been done the same as always, and this is very upsetting.
What is it that you see he can't do?
Well, I think we wrote in there. I mean, you obviously disagree with what we wrote.
Restate.
Would you restate?
Just briefly
you wrote something.
restate why he is not capable. Just briefly.
We chose
Freddie Mac fiasco, you say, and banking and housing committee. That's the only thing you mentioned that was of substance, and didn't explain what it had to do with Tim Johnson and why that was a
He
problem.
voted against the bailout. Voted against it. He knew this was time. So what is it that he's not
And
doing?
your statement about he can't communicate is absolutely off mark. Off mark. He communicates very well.
Have you attended and heard him speaking lately?
Yeah, he came in here and visited with us.
Did he?
Yeah, he came in here and visited with us. Yeah.
Was there anything that he said that you didn't understand?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So you're judging him on the way he speaks now.
He clearly takes longer to communicate. That's true. But restate right now for all of us briefly what he is unable to do.
Yes.
We did in the editorial, and I think you disagree with our editorial. I think we did in our editorial. We said, well, you disagree, and that's fair. That's fair.
You said his limited speech function does not permit him to be an effective communicator. That's not all a senator does.
No, it's not.
They work to bring home
and he has
things for South Dakota.
Yes,
He certainly has over the years.
He has some positions on committees that afford him the ability to bring home a lot of money for the state. We realize that. If newspapers only made endorsements based on how much money you brought back, we could probably have a lot of short meetings on endorsements.
If you decided not to endorse either one, why did you do this? This was cruel.
It really was.
Very cruel.
Sue, I just want to read the rest of that sentence. And his lack of mobility affects his ability to meet with his Senate colleagues and his constituents. How about that gentleman across the street that couldn't move at all? FDR, our most famous president in modern times, certainly had even less mobility than Tim Johnson.
Makes no sense.
And I mean,
I think
let's not act like there isn't electronic communication. I mean, it's not all face to face. I mean, what is just in that example right there? Is it, you know, he has less capability to move around the building. That's true. But how does that really impair his ability to communicate with other senators?
You yourself said that he communicated with you when he came in here and that there was nothing that you did not understand.
And he came in here.
It's true he could not go up the stairs, but you guys met down here. So that was an adjustment made for him, and that's fine. That's understandable. But putting that aside, what was he unable to communicate with you?
I think he answered most of our questions that we had for him.
So